Sorry, I remember today, and Unita, thank you. So ladies, I met this beautiful man in April last year on one of the sessions that I had. And his accent is beautiful. So first of all, I know the Americans love my accent, but his accent is beautiful. And on the second day, he's a beautiful daughter. I'm not sure how old she is. She's still in school, but I think primary school, I think. She came and kissed her dad here on the cheek. And she said, and he said to her, and your mic was on. He said, you must have a beautiful day. That minute, I just thought, I love this man. He didn't know that now. I thought. But from the beginning, you know, if he talks, I listen because he's got such wisdom. And he's got a full-time of a job, and he especially took time out for us as well today. So I just want to say, when I phoned him and I said, I have imagination, will you come and talk to us? And I think that was in April I did. He said, yes, I was over the moon. And he was the first male celebrity. I didn't have to follow up with his details. He was the first male celebrity that was prepared. I am so excited to introduce Eamon. Thank you so much. I know that you wanted to share as well, so I'm just going to open it so that you can share. And Eamon, here is the beautiful Diamond Beauties, and we are ready to hear you. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, thank you. I'm just looking to see if I can share my screen. So if
we can
somebody
see it. Yes.
Perfect. And yeah, I didn't actually know that story, that I was off mic when you heard me speaking to my daughter that day, but I guess that you catching me in a natural environment, which is always the best way, isn't it? And as you say, when you reached out to me several weeks ago now, I jumped at the opportunity to get involved with anything that Sunette is involved in. Is just wonderful, as you guys will know, within the community. And yeah, you asked me to have a think about the topic of imagination, which it's an interesting topic because for me, it falls into that same category of art and creativity. And sometimes for me personally, I struggle with that area of thinking that I'm a creative and an imaginative person. And what I always try to do in that space is try to do something with what I call operationalize, make it a bit more structured that helps my way of thinking to turn something that we are all creative and we all have imaginations, but is there a way that we can bring it to life and have the confidence that we can bring our imagination to life? So if I move on to just a bit of background from my perspective, yeah, my name is Eamon, and my background, and you can hear from my accent, is I am from Ireland, and I'm dialing in from Ireland today. I was brought up in what we call the Troubles. I don't know whether anybody recognizes Ireland as having a bit of a history and a war that is very much deeply connected to religion. And, you know, a lot of people on this call will be aware in different countries how religion can play such a divisive role as well as such a supportive role. But what I found in Ireland growing up, whilst I wasn't part of the Troubles where it was war and there was a lot of violence, I'm in the kind of post area of the Troubles, whereby we've been trying to reconcile with each other. We've been trying to bring the religions together. And to an extent, it's actually zapped a lot of my, through my upbringing, my imagination, because we were always told to compromise, to not put yourself too forward and show too much of your identity, because we were trying to all become one and together. And reflecting back on that, it actually makes me realize that some of my confidence levels were zapped because we were never encouraged to speak our minds and to get our imaginations flowing and think about how we can create such a wonderful world. And whilst I've lived a pretty happy life, it's been a quiet life. It hasn't been, exciting through the upbringing of my years until a few years ago, whenever I said to myself, I need to stop playing the victim. I want to become a creator. I want to move forward and say yes to my life and start living in a moment to moment to moment, in the present moment. And that's where in the last couple of years, I've really brought myself on. And yeah, as Sinette said, I'm quite busy at the minute in the form of I'm a delivery director for a large private organization, which we have about 1,000 people working for us at the minute. So it's a busy space, but where I get my excitement is in the coach and self-development space. And I call myself a coach under construction because we're continuously learning and developing from each other. And yeah, as Sinette said, we met maybe towards the back end of last year, I think, in a couple of other programs where, yeah, I didn't realize my microphone wasn't switched off. And Sinette heard some of my conversations with my daughter, whereby I have a beautiful daughter. She's now 14 and a son at the age of 12. And I'm happily married to Gemma. So that's just a bit of background to me and where I'm coming from. And as I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about imagination. And it's always good to start off when we think about a topic. What is imagination? And I just grabbed a couple of quotes from a few people there that stood out for me when I first looked at imagination. And the first one is, behind every successful person is an out of control imagination, which I quite like. And then good old Albert Einstein, look at this guy who we think of knowledge and IQ and smartness. He's actually said imagination is more important than knowledge, and knowledge is limited where imagination encircles the world. And I thought that was a lovely way just to put into perspective the world of imagination and where we would like to go today with our conversations. So I'd like to just check, I mean, from your perspective, how imaginative are you now on a scale of 1 to 10? If you've got the option to go into the chat box where 0 is you've got zero imagination and 10 is you've got wonderful imagination. Just hit me with a number between 0 and 10. Lovely. We've got 7 from Dar. Oh, 10 straight away from Sinette. Okay. Jackie, we've got 6. Any others coming through? We've got a 9. Oh, a 9 from, is it Yonetta? Carmen's on an 8. Wendy's on a 6. Okay, so scale of 0 to 10, we're all in the higher side of the 0 to 10, which is really, really good to see. And where I would like to go today is to recognize that those scores that you've come up with there now, oh, Laurie, 7.5 to be precise. Thank you, Laurie. And where I would like to go today is just to recognize those scores. And when we get to the end of the presentation, it's really thinking back at the end of this chat. Actually, you have a much bigger imagination inside you already, and we just need to unleash it. We need to just, as I say, operationalize it and bring it to life. And it's a bit like, as I said at the start, that artistic world, whereby art and creativity is already inside of us, but we just need to awaken it and bring it on. So how I would like to do that today is, if I just move to the next slide, is I want to focus on where I see is 3 areas that if we can focus on these today, These are areas that I believe if you have a think about them and get these right, this really will create the opportunity for your imagination to flow. And what I've said here is, from an identity point of view, I'd like us to start thinking about, who are you when you are at your best? This is when you're at the strongest and you can let your imagination flow. The second one is anti-fragile. I'm just looking for a show of hands if anybody's heard that concept before. You may not have, but anti-fragile, I'm not getting, I can see some people on the screen and I'm not getting much reaction, because when I first came across it, I thought to myself, I haven't came across that before. But think the opposite, think fragile, and think of the fragility of, I don't know, maybe sending a parcel in the post and you have to put fragile on it and you have to handle it with care and you have to treat it with, just very delicately. And then flip back to the opposite. That's anti-fragile. And that's what I want to bring out today in my talk, that if you guys can really get into an anti-fragile way of thinking, it's where you become a strong, confident person, unbreakable. So think the opposite of fragile and get into an anti-fragile way of thinking. Again, that will help build your identity, which in turn will help flow through to imagination. And the third area that I'd like to talk about today is Artic. Again, I'm just looking for a show of hands if anybody's heard that term Artic before. No, okay, cool. Well, Artic, for me, it actually comes from the ancient Stoic philosophers. So you may have heard of Stoicism before, and it's a movement, a very old movement within the philosophy movement, and it's actually linked to Aristotle, and it actually means to be constantly looking to improve in the present state, not the past, not the future, but in the present. And it's thinking about doing things in a moment to moment to moment capability. And that is all inside us right now, to think in the present and to be able to look for continuous improvement from where you are right now to where you're actually capable of being. And that gap essentially is where we are all in a space of arete, wanting to improve moment to moment to moment. So that's the three areas that I would like to talk about today. I will go into a bit more detail then around identity. Okay, so identity from my perspective is the base and the keystone for everything that we do going forward and for the rest of today's presentation. For me, if you get your identity correct, that sets up a trigger and emotion of creating the right behaviors. Then creating the right behaviors will generate the feelings that we want. And quite often we get them the wrong way around, where we want to essentially get the feelings right first of all, and then the behaviors and the identity kicks in. But if we reverse that around and have a strong identity, which means in turn you want to create the right behaviors, what naturally comes after that is a sense of the feelings that we all want to feel. And I actually look at them in three areas of energy, work, and love. So again, if I go back to Aristotle, he would very much say, the goal of all goals is happiness. And behind that is actually, from his perspective, it was around what you do in the work and love area. I build on that and actually say, to be able to be the best and the identity that you want in your work life and your love life, you need to have the right energy. You need to have the energy to be able to bring the right level of what you want in your love space and in your workspace. And what I find quite funny in these exercises, if people know how to change their names on Zoom, it's quite funny actually sometimes just to ask for people to go on and rename your Zoom name right now with something that identifies with you. Could be in energy, it could be in work, it could be in love. Love could be that you are a super mother, you're a super wife. It could be anything. So just have a think about it. And if you can go in and change your name, I'm going to change my name to where I come from a love perspective. And we'll just see if anybody wants me to try and change their names. I'm sure I can try and do that as well. But let's just see if we can change a few names here. And just whilst you're doing that, you'll see that I've changed my name to, this is my love identity. Just very simple. I am, in my view, a soul buddy. I'm a buddy to anybody in the physical sense, or more so the connection like we can have today, the soul to soul connection, which we can do through Zoom, we can do through so many other ways. And for me, my identity is very strongly associated with getting the right soul. Look at Sinette, she's now the love bug. Isn't that cool? Who else have we got here to
Sorry,
say that?
Eamon, I just want to say, ladies, if you want to change it, there is, just go to the corner of your name.
Yeah.
There is 3 little dots. And if you click on the 3 little dots, you will go down, you will see there is something called rename, and then you can rename your name.
Yeah. And just and for the rest of today's call, if you want to pop on, thank you for those instructions, Sinette. You can go in and just for some fun, and that could be in the love space, it can be in the workspace. In energy, you might want to call yourself an athlete or a super Olympian or something that identifies in your energy. It could be to do with your nutrition, it could be to do with how you love to sleep and build your energy through sleep. Oh, look at this, some cool ones coming through now. We've got adventurous. That's dangerous and exciting at the same time. We've got joy giver. That's lovely. Meticulous. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, cool. So just if you can, just as I go through the rest of the presentation, you're more than welcome just to have a bit of fun and change your identity for the rest of today's call. But yeah, so just to recap, I feel that if you come from a strong enough sense of identity and understand where you are from an energy point of view, for me, my energy is all around, I feel that I am an athlete, you know, whenever I want to exercise and whenever I want to make my body into the best physical state that it can be, I treat myself as an athlete. In the workspace, I call myself a solutions wizard, because in work, whether it's my work job or whether it's stuff like this in the coaching space where I'm helping individuals, I like to say that I find solutions, and therefore I treat myself as a solution wizard. And then in the love space, as I say, that I like to be a soul buddy. Look at some of these names coming through. We've got life giver, cool. Let's see what else. A believer, lovely, lovely. Yeah, it's just a nice way to, we've got impeller from Diana as well in the chat. Excellent, cool. So yeah, if you can build that identity, and when we link that to imagination, it means therefore, whenever you are clear on where you're coming from, it means then when you're dealing with day-to-day life and having to think of solutions and imagination, you can come at that from a much more confident point of view. If we look then at the details and the more detailed view from an anti-fragile perspective, as I said, anti-fragile, just think the opposite of fragile. And where I like to go in the imagination space, and this is where again I'm operationalizing it, is that we need to look at imagination almost similar to how we all in everyday lives find solutions. You know, so I'm sure we've got mothers in the group, we've probably got aunties in the group, we've got those who have pets, and all of those above can deliver us challenges all the time, and we have to find solutions. And that is you tapping into your imagination. And for me, that anti-fragile approach of having a calm confidence in the imagination space is about having what I call emotional stamina. And that's the anti-fragile. Think of that parcel all wrapped up and sturdy and strong to be able to handle what life throws at you. And as the parcel gets thrown around and gets kicked around, which we all do through our lives, we have to have the emotional stamina to, again, come back to there's some famous sayings, you know, if I fall down 7 times, I'll get back up 8 times. And just having that ability to keep going and progressing and having solutions to go forward with. And it's thinking about, again, that hero versus, as I said at the start of my background, where I was probably in a more victimhood state. And I actually now see myself more as a hero. And again, going back to the Stoicism philosophers, they would describe a hero as a protector, not a superhero, but actually a protector, and a protector of more than one person, i.e. more than you. You protect the people around you. And your biggest tool to help be a hero is actually love. And if you can share the love and gratitude around, that is the true essence of a hero. And I'd love, just again in the chat box, for those who are able to do so, who wants to be a hero or who wants to be a victim? Let me see what the answers would be. And we know the answer and it's loaded, but I just want to see you coming through, that you've got that hero inside you, because it's inside all of us. Thank you, adventurous. Thank you, meticulous. Thank you, joy giver. Look at how all our identities are coming through now. You see what I'm doing? Yay. We've got believer. We've got love, joy-filled giver, Laurie. Wow, that's a big one there. Thank you. So yeah, we want to get into that hero sense of anti-fragile approach. Whenever life is throwing things at us or throwing that parcel around, we can be strong. We can get back up again and say to ourselves, bring it on, bring it on. And I find myself, and I know I'm standing today in this presentation, but I find when we say bring it on, my chest goes out, you know, and I feel much stronger. I see Sanette starting to get herself positioned and postured, because when you say bring it on, it comes with the, yeah, I can see, yeah, you put the hands on the hips, I see that as well, yeah. And you actually feel the ability to have the calm confidence with the identity coming through, that it enables you to find solutions, to use your imagination, and to bring yourself into an arete, moment-to-moment improvement state. And then there is that arete, as I talked about it, and it actually comes from Aristotle, as I mentioned, where he talks about the goal of all goals is happiness, but there's a deeper meaning to just happiness. And a lot of people, when you ask what do you want in life, and people say, oh, to be happy, there is actually a deeper meaning that sits behind happy. And Sanette and Laurie, who I know as well on this call, knows that sitting behind happiness, and you guys will know this as well, it's about finding that love, that joy, that peace in life, and being able to move into, again, as the ancient philosophers would say, it's a beautiful word, eudaimonia state, eudaimonia, which translates to a good soul. And that's where my love identity of soul body comes from, where I strive for that eudaimonia state. And you achieve that through arete, that moment to moment to moment improvement in your life. And it lets the imagination flow into the present, and not to be in the past or not to be in the future, but looking at the here and now. Which lets me conclude, and I know we've only got a short time with ourselves today, to really just recap and replay back where I see that simplified, operationalized version of imagination can come from getting that identity. You know, so we've got our love bug, we've got adventurous, believer, joy giver, life giver, love, joy-filled giver, meticulous, positive energy. You know, there's some fabulous words that are coming through when you think about that work, that love, that energy space of identifying your identity. Coming at it from an anti-fragile perspective is really key, because life throws so much at us. We need to be able to have a strong identity, and when we get faced with challenges, have that ability to get back up again and keep progressing through that Artic moment. And for me, you know, Sanette fully embodies that trueness in Artic. You know, when I met her several months ago, right to now, it's an amazing experience to see the energy that Sanette brings to not only your group, but to all of the other interactions she has. And I think it's worth us, as I conclude my presentation today, just to give Sanette a round of applause for what she does for this community. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I hope that's in some way just a guide from my perspective. I say, come back to the fact that my little brain needs to operationalize that creative space, and hopefully just thinking about those areas of identity, anti-fragility, and doing things and achieving things through an Artic way will help you let your imagination flow. So I think if I can pause there, I'm not sure whether, Sanette, you want to do a bit of a Q&A, or yeah, I'll pass back to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Eamon. You're welcome to stop the sharing, and then we can get all the ladies on a screen. So ladies, did you enjoy that? If you did, give Eamon a heart emoji in your reaction button. And then I wanted to ask, is there any questions that you wanted to ask him? Because actual fact, Eamon, you made it so practical. Because some people will ask me, Sanette, how do you do your imagination? I just do it. It's so easy, but never thought about the practical way. Your everything that you went through was so practical. So I can just say thank you so much. So ladies, any questions?
Hey, thank you, soul buddy.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy Giver.
Yes, this is such a beautiful group of people. I feel very blessed. Sanette and I are soul sisters. We had quality time to get together, and she does have that gift naturally. And I really, really have to work at it, because imagination isn't one of my strengths.
Yeah.
And I do lots of work with meditation and thinking and, reading and that kind of thing. But what I loved, what helped me, I forget your first name now, Eamon?
Eamon, yeah.
Eamon. Was when you asked us to identify with the emotional, the hero, the energy, the work, and the love, and give myself a title. Yeah. That gave me adjectives, should we say, like, for instance, I put a name under emotional. A category for myself is that I'm resilient, and all of us are. We're all resilient. Yeah. But to be able to give a name to it, and passionate with work, I'm very passionate with what I do. It just brings it on so much stronger about identity, which you said is very important.
Thank you.
My identity is in Christ. However, it's great to be able to extrapolate and get even more definitive. So thank you.
Thank you, Joy Giver. Thank you. And as you say, in that identity of Joy Giver, and the areas of energy, work, love, I think there are three key areas. Work and love is where we all want to be, in that happiness space. But if you get your energy right, if you get, if you just bottle whatever Sanette takes, because the energy that flows from her is amazing. And if you can bring that to your work life and to your love life, that's where the magic happens. And if you can bring that with a sense of identity in those areas, your behaviors and your feelings all follow from it. So yeah, thank you for your feedback. And yeah. Anybody else?
That's amazing. So, ladies, I wanted to ask Eamon, you are, or Soul Buddy, you are welcome to stay. We would love you to stay, but if you want to sit down, also you can. So we're gonna go. I want to say thank you so much for your presentation and your totally beautiful perspective on imagination. It's wow, it's amazing. So thank you so much for that. And then I'm going to go to Meticulous, or as we know her, Unita. She's going to do our 5 minutes section. So I'm going to give it all to you, Unita, and then we will be, Carmen will then be taking it over for the next session. But I want to quickly introduce Carmen. So Unita, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's such a wonderful privilege to be here with Sonette and the Diamond Beauties and Eamon. My name is Juanita Ka, and I have the privilege this evening to discuss the topic of imagination with you. So I made a few notes this morning that I'm going to read that really spoke to me, and I really, as I dug into the theme, I really discovered new things about the theme myself. So I would love to share that with you. I wrote here, I love my imagination. It gives me free rein to accomplish my dreams. I use it daily because it brings joy to my life. Through my imagination, I can create a positive shift in my reality. Now, I realize that the world is a broken place, but sometimes when I meditate, I do sit and think and imagine what the world would be like if it was a beautiful place without the brokenness and the fragmentations that we see today. I realize that I'm not in control of the world, but what I do know is that I can control my thoughts and I can control my feelings. So I believe in my life philosophy that change starts with self. It begins with me. Therefore, I use my imagination to bring about positive changes in my life. Now, we know that the imagination is seated in the conscious mind. And if we compare our conscious mind to our subconscious mind, we note that they differ in size and function. If your conscious mind is, for instance, the size of a mango, let's use fruit as an example, your subconscious mind would be the size of a watermelon. And that is very interesting to me because our imagination lies in our conscious mind, in our consciousness. If I had to illustrate the relationship, how the relationship works between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, it would be as follows. Your conscious mind is the helm of your ship, while your subconscious mind is your ship itself. So I use my imagination, my free will to steer my subconscious mind to bring about a positive effect. Therefore, when I imagine things, and I know Sonette loves to imagine things, and I'm the same, I just, my head is in the clouds sometimes with my imagination. When I imagine my future, when I imagine my dreams coming true, when I imagine breakthroughs, I do so with a positive attitude, with a sense of gratitude. I do so because I know it's going to bring me joy. And then when I direct my subconscious mind in that manner, it becomes my reality. So my imagination and my manifestations work together to bring my dreams and my desires into fruition in my real life. I use my imagination for good. If we look at the Bible, we see that we use our senses to experience God. God helps us to use our senses in the Bible to know Him. God helps us to read His word and to understand it. The Bible says, taste and see that the Lord is good. That's not a physical taste. How can you physically taste that the Lord is good? It's a spiritual inclination. It's an imagination. It's a thought. It's a feeling that I have. It is that idea that I have in the situation that I'm in. And I'm so happy that Eamon mentioned, that life does throw situations at us. And we can effectively use our imagination to lift us out of that circumstance. God brings that breakthrough. And in the spirit, you can taste and see that the Lord is good. See yourself in that day of salvation. See in your imagination that breakthrough. See your dream coming true. Another scripture that comes to mind, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be pleasing to you, God. The scriptures also say, faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God, because we use our senses to experience them. When we hear the word of God, it becomes a part of our mind and our thoughts, and we use our consciousness and our subconscious mind to get that feeling of faith in our hearts, to start to believe. And that is when we confess the name of Jesus. So our imagination works not only in a spiritual manner or in a spiritual sense, it also works in a mental sense, in your mental capacity, where you can say, I want to make a change. I'm going to focus on the positive. I know the universe reciprocates what we focus on. So if I focus with my imagination on everything that's fantastic, that's wonderful, that's fun, pretty soon my life will be filled with things that are fantastic, wonderful, and fun. See your imagination today as a tool that helps you to achieve your dreams and your goals. Use it and be joyful and wake up every day and say, I'm going to use my imagination for good. Imagine if we all used our imagination to do good in this world. Imagine if we all step up to the plate and do our part, if we could take responsibility for our world. What a wonderful place it would be. And that is when the positive change in our world will transpire. So my word to you this evening is use your imagination. It is a gift and it is powerful.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. If you love it, ladies, and Eamon, you're welcome to give her a hand clap or any emotions. Let me just get my reaction. Here is mine. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. So, ladies, are you ready? That was amazing. Can I just tell you something? Somebody asked me the other day, Sanette, why are you always so happy? I choose to be happy. I wake up and choose to be, even the night before going to bed, I choose to be happy. And can I tell you a big secret? Do you know how fast you can change your life, change to make yourself happy? You don't need to go on a pilgrim trip or go to the moon. You can, like this, as quick as you can do like this, change your mind. And then I love to use my imagination. And sometimes your imagination doesn't work. Then you put your forever song on and you dance if there's no tomorrow. But can you see how fast it is, ladies? And Eamon, like this. Like this. I want to say thank you so much, Juanita. Now I want to introduce to you my beautiful poet. I met this lady on the 8th of January, and I'm a bit tearful now. I will tell you why. I met this beautiful lady on the 8th of January when I had to do my speech in beautiful Philadelphia. She is small in stature, but is the biggest heart I have seen. I know she's got a beautiful sister that's talented, and I love her as well. But there's something different about you, Carmel. There is just, I think I hugged you more than 8 times. Do you know that? It was like amazing. You are amazing. And you're changing people's lives, showing them they can also do write poetry. So I'm so privileged to be able to introduce you to the team, to the Diamond Beauties, and just inspire us because you do every day. And then, ladies, please follow Carmen on Facebook. She's coming out every day with affirmations. And on Monday, she has a show. She is beautiful. So Carmen, all over to you. Or adventurous, all over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to know who I was. Finding the answer was my task. In bondage, long. I had to break free. I started with a word and I ended with my pain on paper. My inner strength came through as I continued to release. My mind renewed. My heart is free. My topic for today is finding myself through a dream. Sometimes we find that as a child, children have a vast imagination where there is no limit to what they can think, what they can dream, what they can imagine. They can be a monster in front of them, invisible, right? In our minds, it's like, where do you see? As an adult, we're like, I don't see that monster. But a child is like, I see the monster. It's black and blue, and it gives us, it has polka dots on. That's what a child does. So I am reminded that imagination stems from a childhood. And we have to keep that creativity. We have to keep that imagination flowing, even as an adult. As an adult, we call it a vision, right? What vision do you have today? What dream did you have as a child that you forgot about? And now as an adult, you envision. You have to bring it back, right? Time is too precious for us to leave our visions behind. Our dreams, our visions, that is what's going to make us. Our imagination is what causes us or influence us to move on, right? And everyone is different. My vision or my dream is not, soul buddy's dream is not meticulous dream, is not life giver's dream, and so forth. It's not even love bug's dream, right? We each are different in our unique way. Mine is poetry. God has gifted me with poetry where I can express through words. But those expressions starts from where? It starts from your heart. I can't just speak with anything. I have to speak from the heart. What am I feeling? If I'm happy, sad, whatever those emotions are, I'm in tune to those emotions. Therefore, I am expressing them through poetry. When I think about imagination as well, I think about being free. Because when you close your eyes, so allow us to everyone just close your eyes for a moment, right? And just allow your mind to just be free. Don't think about any specific topic. Don't think about anything. Don't think about what you have to do in the next 20 minutes or after you get off of this Zoom. Just let your mind be free. And that's how a child's mind is. A child's mind is free when you're imagining. And they can imagine the smallest thing, an insect down in the dirt. They can imagine a worm coming up. They can imagine that, what is that called? The caterpillar. They can imagine a butterfly. They can imagine anything. So I need you to go back to your childhood right now. One thing that you always wanted to do that did not come to fruition because adulthood hit, and now we're told that we can't do what we wanted to do. You can open your eyes now. What we wanted to do as a child. I want you to know that that's false. Anything that you set your mind to do as a child with your imagination, why can't you do as an adult? Right? We're still thinking, we're still imagining, we're still envisioning what we want. But guess what? It is up to us, me, you, to make that happen. It's not going to happen. You're not given a spoon, a silver spoon, right? You're not born with a silver spoon in your mouth, right? You're not born with riches, right? You have to work for it. You have to hustle. You have to grind. You have to go for it. That's how you're going to make it in life. That's where your imagination, and that's when you have to really purpose in your heart. And I forget who it was that talked about the Bible, but like Daniel purposed in his heart that he was not going to defile himself with the king's food. He purposed. We have to purpose, have that same purpose in our hearts that we are going to go towards everything that we ever dreamed of. Do you want a book? You want to be a published author? Why not? Do it. Do you want a building? You want your own company? You want to be a CEO and founder of X, Y, and Z? Do it. It starts in your mind. The battle begins in your mind. And when you can really get that, because it's a battle. One moment you're positive and I'm gonna get this. The next moment you're negative and I'm not sure, right? We begin to doubt. But guess what? Or we begin to fear. Fear is not from God. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. So what am I saying? Whatever you envision, whatever you imagine, first of all, the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. So your first step is to write it down. Whatever's here, write it down. Get yourself a journal, write it down. And then after you write it down, you have to now make the necessary steps, take the necessary steps possible to bring it to fruition. It's not just going to happen just because you envision it. It's not going to happen just because you imagine it. No, now you have to bring it to life now. So something that's going to stay dormant until you make that move and want to do all that you can do to bring that little dream. It might be little, might be minute, right? To someone else, but to us, it's the biggest dream possible, right? I want to become an author, I want to have my own store. I want to have my own clothing line, why not? You can do it. But the question lies is, how bad do you want it? Because it's not going to come to you. Someone's not going to say, hey, I have a building for you. It's for free. I mean, I would love for that to happen, right? But the reality is that doesn't happen. We have to work for what we desire. So as I stated, it starts with an imagination. It starts with a vision. Write the vision, make it plain, and execute that vision. That's all I have for you. I'm a poet. I love poetry. I'm getting ready to launch my Poetry Alive because that's something that God has given to me. And I express through poetry. And that's just where God has me. And I'm a free-spirited person. I love everyone. I have, just like God has no respect of person, I have no respect of person.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. Carmen, can you tell us about look at, sorry. Can you, she was looking for the heart emoji. That was, he gave me one of that. Can you tell the ladies and Eamon about your session that you're going to have soon with your poetry?
Sure, yes. So August 6th, I am doing my business launch for Poetry Alive. And I am super excited about this because poetry, I remember as a child, and I'm only 42 years old, but poetry, we had to recite poetry back when I was in 4th grade, 5th grade, and Langston Hughes, Maya Angelou, those are my two favorite. And I remember reciting their poems, right? And then in high school, we did the Shakespeare and all of that. Nowadays, with my children, I have 5 sons, I don't hear that. And when I go to their schools, they're not teaching. They don't have to recite. They're not teaching poetry. They're not teaching the Shakespeare. And so it's a part of life that has been lost. Hence the name Poetry Alive, because I am bringing back our roots. I am bringing back poetry, the arts, right? Because arts, they're taking that away from our children. They're taking away from the schools. I am bringing that back into the schools. So August 6th in Philadelphia, here in Philadelphia, I am doing my business launch for Poetry Alive. It's not going to be like any event. You can't compare my event to anyone's event because it's going to be different. I'm going to have vendors. I'm going to have auctions. I'm going to have a fashion show. I'm just, it's going to be everything all in one so everybody can know who Carmen is, because I want the world to know who I am and how I run my business.
Wow.
And then on September 17th, I'm doing my Poetry with a Twist. So I am actually having an event where my poetry is coming to life.
And this was all in your imagination before starting to take the action?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
It started as a vision. It started as a dream. And write the vision, make it plain, and it's coming to fruition.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I cannot even tell you. I am bursting with pride for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
For telling us. And like I said, ladies and Eamon, follow. And maybe, Carmen, you can just quickly put your right name and surname, or you can put it in the chat for us so that they can start following you on Facebook. And then when you finish, I'm going to ask you, what is your forever song?
My favorite song.
Your forever song, yes.
Oh, so I'm not sure if you guys know Alicia Keys. So Alicia Keys, This Girl's on Fire. The song has meaning for me because I wasn't always bubbly. I wasn't always free, right? I went through a period of my life where I was in bondage, 18 years. And I thought that suicide was the way out. But when I found myself, when I really found myself and knew my worth, there has not been a moment that I have not turned around. I don't want to look back. I don't want to go back there. I have moved forward. So This Girl's on Fire by Alicia Keys really tells my story. It depicts who I am.
Thank you so much. I'm going to play it now for you, for everyone, and we will dance out with it. I will just ask you if you can stay afterwards because I want to do your anchoring for your forever song for you. And most of the ladies on the group did it, and they said that have changed their lives forever. So I will be doing that for you. Just one more thing. You've got 5 boys. Can you tell everyone how old are they?
Sure. So my eldest son, he's 22. He'll be 23 in September. I have a set of twins who are 20. They'll be 21 in December. I have a 17-year-old. He just turned 17. And I have a 10-year-old who will be 11 in December.
And ladies, she doesn't look older than 28, hey? I was so surprised when we had to do a competition in the session, and this tall young child, I want to say boy, but a young child, I said, and who are you with? And he said, that's my mother. I said, but your mother, I thought she's a kid. I thought she was just under 30. I didn't know it was his mother. So I just want to say thank you so much for this. You know, your poetry is so beautiful, and you have just got something special. So thank you so much, Carmen, and taking time out.
Thank you.
At the moment, you are doing two jobs.
Yes, I'm a social worker and a home care provider on top of building my business. Yes.
It's incredible. And ladies, just, and Eamon, if you follow her, you can see she's all over the show. She's got energy. And like that yellow shirt of hers, sun energy. And then Unita, I want to say thank you so much for your beautiful presentation you did for us. And then Eamon, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your presentation was beautiful and it was practical. And if I can then say to everyone, have a beautiful week. Let your imagination go. You can post anything on the Diamond Beauty group regarding imagination. And then if you all are ready, and Carmen, if you're ready, here we go.
I'm ready.
Oh, wait. Thank you, my sorry. You know, sorry, I love you. Mwah. I cannot do I have to stop the recording. Otherwise, the YouTube tells me, oh,